Welcome back, guys. I'm Carter.
And I'm Kaylee.
And this is the
Uncultured Podcast. Episode 5.
Episode 5. We have made it to 5 episodes.
Woohoo!
So let's get it.
Thank you guys for helping us reach episode 5. It seems small, but we're having a lot of fun with this, and we hope that you guys are really enjoying it because we're putting a lot of work and research and time into it. But we're also having a lot of fun. So
It is a lot of fun.
It really is.
And if you guys want to see behind the scenes or see when new episodes are posted, or if you want to just talk to us or just email us or DM or interact with yours truly, you can email us. I know that sounds so 2007. You can email us at unculturedpodcast24 at gmail.com, or you can DM us or comment on the post or just follow us if you want at
uncultured.pod
on Instagram.
So
check us out. If you follow us, there might be a chance that we follow you back. So
maybe we'll see. We would love to hear from you guys. Topics you want to hear us talk about, things like that. But for episode 5, Carter, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about Special Olympics. We're going to be diving into the world of Special Olympics, and you guys might have heard of Special Olympics, might have not heard of Special Olympics. It is a competition, the Olympics, that is sports-based, but it's with intellectually disabled people. So, people with Down syndrome, people with autism, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's all around the world. The reason we're talking about it on this podcast, because you might, it's not really pop culture, but it kind of is because they just had their big world games.
Yeah. So it is something that is going on in the world. We also want to bring awareness to it.
Yeah.
We want to speak on it. Well, especially for you from personal experience, things that you've seen and learned in the community, ways that you could get involved maybe, and just kind of give a general overview of it. This is very new to me as well. We have had conversations about it, but I found it very interesting, and I thought it would be really nice for you to kind of share to our audience what it's about, and you're very passionate about it, so I think it's a really great topic to talk about, and we would really appreciate it if you guys definitely listened. It'd be great.
It'll be great for everyone. You'll learn stuff. I learn stuff every time I look up this kind of stuff. So, as I said, they just did the World Games. They did the World Games in Berlin, Germany. So this isn't just an America thing. It's all across the world. So they just had their World Games in Berlin. We'll cover that a little more deeper as we get in.
That is really cool though. I never realized the reach. Is it an organization?
So yeah,
would you say Special Olympics is an organization?
It's like a nonprofit, basically.
Okay, gotcha. I never I've only known about it from you. So I never realized kind of the reach that it has because I've only seen it at a small scale. But that's really, really interesting.
So we'll start off by saying what an intellectual disability is, and then we'll go into my personal experience with Special Olympics, with that community, and then we'll go into what the Special Olympics is, the history, and then we'll go into the World Games, like I was saying.
Gotcha.
So first, let's go into what an intellectual disability is. Some of you guys might already know what this is, and shout out to you if you do, but let's just go straight off of what the Special Olympics website has as the description.
And we will link any
all
websites in the description as well if you want to go check these out more.
All right. So an intellectual disability, or ID, is a term used when a person has certain limitations in cognitive functioning and skills, including conceptual, social, and practical skills, such as language, social, and self-care. These limitations can cause a person to develop and learn more slowly or differently than a typically developing person. So, intellectual disability can happen anytime before a person turns 22 and even before birth. And also, intellectual disability is the most common developmental disability.
Okay, that's very interesting. I wonder how much I'll be able to kind of contribute to this conversation, because I did take a college class for diversity for educators, and it was kind of, about teaching culture and ethnicities and language barriers and things like that, but also about teaching cognitively disabled children and kind of the challenges that presents. So this would be very interesting to see kind of how those could play hand in hand.
And also you have a brother that has autism.
That is true. I do. And so growing up with him, I have seen a few things and learned a few things from experience. Yeah. And so it's very interesting.
So, like, there are different levels of, like, the disabilities. Like, I don't want to say
like a spectrum almost.
Yes, spectrum. That's the word they use.
Okay.
So, there's three criteria that you gotta meet to like have a intellectual disability, like what the doctor diagnoses you as one, and those are: you have an IQ below 70. There are significant limitations in adaptive behavior in one or more of the following areas, which is conceptual, social, practical skills. And like the practical skills are like skills that are needed to live, work, and play in the community. So like, I don't know how to describe it, but like
cooking,
cleaning. Or cleaning, or even just taking a dog for a walk, or just like
getting into the car and washing dishes,
simple stuff
or
like
something.
that, or like taking a shower, or like just stuff like that.
Eating, even.
Basic stuff, like, so yes. And like this, it might not just be like people with Down syndrome or people with autism. Like this also applies for like, I don't want to like vegetables almost, like where they're just in a wheelchair, and they're just bound to that wheelchair. So that's very sad to see, but those are real people, and they need to be
absolutely.
They need to be talked about, and they need to be heard.
Absolutely.
So that's why I feel so special about this. And if you're wondering how common these intellectual disabilities are, I have a few numbers here. So approximately 6.5 million people in the United States have an intellectual disability.
Wow. And that is like on a spectrum too. That's not just saying, like really severe or like higher end.
So it's the people that meet this criteria.
Gotcha.
So approximately 1 to 3% of the global population have a intellectual disability.
Think about how many people are on the planet.
That's around 200 million.
Yeah, that is
it's a lot.
That's a lot. And like the fact that you almost never hear it spoken about. I feel like in 2023, where we have, advocates for all sorts of things, LGBTQ rights, children's rights, women's rights, all like, racial rights, like you hear all of these things, and on that list of things, sometimes I feel like disabled rights get swept under the rug, or just kind of forgotten about because it's too hard, or it's too touchy, or you don't want to,
And also, I think
I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you get it.
I don't want to say most unrepresented, but like they can't stand up for themselves. Like, you might have a handful of these people. By handful I mean like there are thousands that know that there's something different with them, but like you have a handful of them that can like go to like events and speak out against it. You just have a handful of them, whereas these other groups, like almost nearly, I would say a large percentage of them can do so. They can speak up for how they're being wronged. They can speak up for everything that they're being mistreated for, and these intellectual disability people cannot. So it's just really sad. So around 200 million people, and from a study of May of this year, where we live in Florida, there is around 13% of Floridians who live with a cognitive disability.
Wow.
So that's just something I just want to throw out there, because
and that percentage sounds small, but in reference to individual human beings, that's so many people, and it's just not talked about, and that's really sad, because everyone deserves to be advocated for, and to have someone who is backing them up and supporting them, and sometimes like I said, I feel like it just gets lost, and that's really sad.
And that's around 2.7 million of Floridians.
Well, there you go. That's a lot of people.
And like everyone listening to this, like everyone's probably encountered someone with an intellectual disability, and like, what would you say your personal experience has been like when you've just met one like out and about, just going to the mall or whatever?
So I was always raised to be respectful of everybody. My parents, especially my dad, made it very clear everyone is treated equally no matter what. Like, I mean, from 2 years old, 3 years old, where I can even understand, wow, you're different. Or, and even though children, I feel like, don't typically think that way, as you get older, you develop your own mindset about things. And some people do take the path of, well, if you're different, I don't like you and I don't want to, be around you and I don't want to interact with you, and have that kind of judgmental mindset. So I'm very grateful that I was raised that way, and it like never fazed me. Like I just was like, oh wow, that person's in a wheelchair. I hope they're okay.
Yeah.
I hope they're doing all right. And maybe they're not, or maybe they are, or whatever. I don't know. But also, like, it just never fazed me. I wasn't like the type of kid. Me and my sister, like, we were never the types of kids to stare. We were raised to be just respectful of everybody, no matter who they are, because it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. We all have the same color blood running through our veins, so why does it matter? Literally. So, which I wish more people thought the same way, but that's just how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So when I guess when I would see these people in this community in public, I just didn't, I noticed it because it is different and it does stand out in some ways, but also I was just like, oh yeah, I hope they have a good day.
Yeah. Like
I do with everybody. I hope you're having a good day, Because in my eyes, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
I can say that growing up in a public school, I was introduced to a lot of different types of people, especially some handicapped children who I went my entire school career with, up until high school when I moved. And so there was a boy that I went to school with who was just the kindest soul. He couldn't speak, but he, like anyone, you walk past him in the hallway, he's giving you a fist bump, he's giving you a hug, he's making your day better, because he just he's not dead, is so kind and is a human and is a good person. He did have Down syndrome. Okay. He also had something else. I don't know what it was, but it just kind of definitely set him back a lot. And his name was AJ. Shout out AJ. You're the goat. But like, I grew up with him. Yeah. I was in kindergarten, and then 8th grade when I moved, he was still at the school. I went my entire crazy. 9 years in the public school system with AJ, and never batted an eye. It was normal. Crazy. That's what I think was really, public schools have got some work to do. But what I think is really great about public schools is that you see so many different types of kids, and I feel like more so than private schools, because when I moved from public school, I did go to a private school. We both went to a private school, and in public school, in my opinion, I was just introduced to so many different cultures and languages, and we had, kids pulled out of class for like English as a second language students, and cognitive disabilities, and I was pulled from the classroom for cognitive things even. So it just really opens you up as a child. So not only was I growing up with open-minded parents, I was also growing up having to be open-minded because I was surrounded by it. And even then, I never saw anything wrong with it. They can be the nicest people. So I had a similar experience. So I had like sort of a similar experience where... I just realized there's nothing in this cup, but it's okay. I was like, ooh, a drink sounds good. Anyway, there's nothing in there. Yeah, so my personal experience, so I was born, and my dad, like, of course, my dad. You know him, you love him. Reason why I'm here. You probably don't know him, but we love him. He's great. Shout out. He has been working at an ESC school, which is basically working with these students for over 20 years now. So I was born, I was immediately thrown into like this life that he this is his job. He teaches all these type of kids. And so from day one, I've been surrounded about these kids, and like immediately,
like that's all I knew. So like I didn't know to treat them bad or like treat them any differently from anyone else. And like honestly, that thought never even crossed my mind. Like maybe when I was a toddler or whatever, I like said something like how they were different or something, but I didn't know any better. So like I literally have been born into like this life of like
just full exposure.
And so I've been surrounded about this, and my dad started Special Olympics probably like 4 or 5 years into teaching like these kind of students. And so he was an assistant coach at his old school where he helped with basketball and track and field and bowling. So I was around 4 when he started that. So I would go to all the events. I would go to every track meet and everything. And I would just be surrounded by it, and just meeting all these kids that are welcoming me, and all these people that are just, they're so happy all the time. That's the thing. Like, yes, they understand. Like some of them are really good at understanding if they win or lose. Like if you look over here, I have just a ton of ribbons from a lot of the events. So like they understand if they get first or fifth place. So they might not be the happiest when they get the award, but then we just remind them that, hey, you had fun, didn't you? You had fun. So and then their mood changes, and they're just like happy 99% of the time, and it's just crazy to see. So I've been helping out, participating, just volunteering when I was around 4, and then around 8 my dad actually put me in as a unified partner, which is a unified partner is so you can actually play with the athletes, which are all the people, and so you can play with them, which like you might hear that and be like, you're competing against them, you're gonna absolutely demolish them, like what the heck. I mean, no, it's not like that. So they have different categories. So they have individual, where it's just athlete versus athlete, and then they have unified sports, which is like basketball, for instance. That's what I did mainly. So you would have like a team of like 5 of these intellectually disabled, and you'll have like 2 or 3 partners on the team. So they would just be out there on the court just helping, just helping and everything. And you would only play other teams that had unifieds too. So like that's what I did. I did basketball, I did bocce, I did bowling. So like that was a lot of fun because I got to play with them, and I got to like help them out, and I got like they made me like I might have helped them out, but they've made me like even better. Like not like in sports wise, but just a better person, I think. Because
you're having this experience.
I'm having this experience, and my eyes are open to like all the abilities that they can have, and people just hate on them for no reason.
Infantilize them. They like, we also did talk about this as well, but I feel like a lot of times what I have seen is, you know, people infantilizing them, which is, if you don't know what that means, it's kind of cooing at them like they're children.
I was just about to talk about that too.
Like it's so sad.
It's very
because
sad.
They don't need you to coddle them or to baby them.
They're people too.
They're their own person, and you can think about things and can do their own things, and you know, in a sense, to an extent, can be
like
independent.
It might not be the same
emotions,
as you, but like
can communicate.
They still have all this stuff.
So it's I never really understood why people did that. Just talk to them like a normal person.
You don't have to treat them like they're a dog. Like
exactly.
I never understood that.
Oh, you did so good. Oh, good job.
Yeah,
like
people,
yes, tell them good job.
People do that. Like especially at Special Olympics, there's a lot of volunteers that do that, which is great. Like they're so happy.
Positive
when you do
reinforcement.
That. Positive reinforcement, but also they are people. So like, what I can't stand is people. Like, yes, they're people too. So they do stuff that they're wrong sometimes. Like I have this one partner that his name is Alex. Shout out to Alex.
We love you, Alex.
Love you, Alex. He's like in his 20s, so he likes pretty girls. So he'll go up to them and he'll just start talking to them. He'll go, "Hi, I'm Alex," and then like they're all like, "Oh, hi Alex, how are you today? Did you do great?" And then like, so then he starts to like flirt with them, and then like it'll get to the point where he just goes up and just gives them a hug. And we gotta teach them that you can't do that.
Boundaries.
Like, boundaries, and you gotta ask. So like stuff like that, that's just a minor scale, but like they're people too, and you gotta follow rules and everything. So and then people just seem to coddle, like you were saying, but like it's fun. I think coddling's a lot better than cooing, like you were saying, which I have a personal experience with, where it was like back in middle school. I was like 7th grade. I was excited that I got to miss a day of school because I was playing on the basketball team and we got to go to the state games, which is the state games is like the championship for your state, so it's like a big deal. So like I got to go play. We got to go to the Wide World of Sports in Orlando, Disney. And play. So I was just telling everyone, yeah, I won't be here Friday because I get to go play Special Olympics. And they're like, "You're in Special Olympics?" I was like, "Yeah." I didn't think anything wrong about it.
I was going to ask you about this because you've talked to me about it before.
Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, what's wrong with that?" They're like, "You're playing against those," I don't want to say the word, but you know the word he's You're playing with those people, and I'm like, "Yeah, I am." Like, what's wrong with that?
That is so disrespectful.
And they would just make
makes
fun.
Me so mad. Like, if I had ever heard someone say that to you, I don't know what I would do. Lord forgive me, but like, I would be so angry.
Yeah, so
that is so disrespectful.
They were just making fun of everyone this whole group of people making fun of me, saying that, "Oh, that's not fair. You're like going up against them. You're obviously going to beat them. That's not fair at all." Like stuff like that, like saying they can't even like walk straight or talk. Like how are they going to do that? So that just made me mad, and like that's been very hard for me to get over. So like ever since then, I haven't really told anyone when I'm volunteering or participating in Special Olympics.
But it shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be.
It's something that you should be proud of, because I'll tell you what, you have such a special heart to be able to do this and like have that patience and be this kind of human being that can handle it, I guess. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. You get what I'm saying. It is
a lot.
It's a lot. And so like you have such a special heart, and the fact that people were putting you down for having the heart that you have for people, just in general.
And I just never knew any different, so I don't...
Like, that is so
like, I
wrong.
Obviously know they're different than me, but, like, why does that
matter?
Who cares?
It doesn't change how you treat them.
They're awesome people. Like, I'd rather hang out with them than you. I'm sorry, but...
I understand, believe me.
So, like, that really turned me off. Like, I didn't really post anything about it on social media. And, like, I didn't really tell anyone when I would be going or anything. So this has been a lot to be able to say all this, but I think I need to. Like, the fact that I haven't said anything for the past, like, 7-8 years when I've done it is kind of, like, I'm kind of ashamed of that.
Because you know what? Who cares what anybody else thinks?
Yeah, like,
who cares?
It's just been hard because I don't want people to say all this negative stuff about this group. And
but it's up to you
to
sit here and say, no, that's wrong. Let me tell you what it actually is
like. Which I do, but they're just ignorant and they don't listen. Like, even some of my friends will say some of that stuff still, and I'm like, just come on. Like, it's
unnecessary.
It's unnecessary. So, like, I didn't tell people about it because I didn't want to hear that negative stuff about them. Mm-hmm. And then whatever I would tell them, they would just be like, whatever. Yeah. Like, stuff like that. And, like, the thing is, it's hard because you guys are hearing me right now. You might be agreeing with what I'm saying, but like, it's hard for like to like truly understand what I'm saying, unless you've like experienced like going to a Special Olympics or being hands-on with these people, like with these kids.
Experiencing it firsthand.
Experiencing it firsthand will truly open your eyes, truly open your heart. And it's so easy to volunteer. Just go to SpecialOlympics.com. Boom, you're done.
Period.
So it's super easy.
Do it.
So it's fun. So yeah, do it.
So do you know any of like the history of Special Olympics at all?
Just about to get into that.
Wait. Okay, 24 minutes.
Nice.
24 minutes.
All right. So funny that you bring that up, Kaylee. I was literally just about to talk about it.
Well, there you go.
So, like I said, Special Olympics, intellectually disabled people. What is Special Olympics, you ask? Well, we kind of talked about it.
We did.
But let's do a deep dive into it. So, from a backyard summer camp for people with intellectually disabilities, to a global movement, Special Olympics has been changing lives and attitudes since 1968. Over 50 years, guys. So in the early 1960s, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, yes, one of the OGs of the Kennedy family.
It's really funny that the Kennedy family keeps popping up on this podcast. First we had, what did you call him?
JFK.
Jeffrey
Kennedy.
You know him, you love him. The man, the myth, the legend.
Jeffrey.
RFK Jr.
RFK Jr.
Now Eunice.
Yep, so now Eunice is back. The Kennedys are back.
Sick.
It's going to be a running joke, isn't it?
100%.
So Eunice decided, so she saw how unfairly people with these disabilities were treated, especially back in the 60s. Yeah. Can you imagine, like, back in the 60s, they would just, you could say, oh, you have Down syndrome, you have autism, like, we don't even care what you have, you're just different from us, throw them in a mental institution. Mm-hmm. So they would just throw them into a mental institution instead of, like, putting them in a school catered to them to help them grow, to help them learn. They just throw them into a mental institution where they just sit down and just stare out of a window for 24 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we have come a long way from the 60s. It's still not perfect. I mean, nothing's going to be perfect, but like,
but it's still
so much better. Like, there's still schools everywhere through the state of Florida, through America, like everywhere, and there's still like all these like Special Olympics, all these different organizations and just stuff you can put them into. Like, I can just go to a Publix right now and I can just see one of these people just working, just bagging my groceries for me. Like, we have an athlete, her name's Nene. Shout out Nene.
Shout out.
She's working at Publix right now. She's literally working at Publix. Same job you and me could get. She's working. Yeah. So it's so great. Amazing. It's awesome. And so, what's her name? Eunice saw this and she decided to create a summer camp called Camp Shriver. And it was specifically for these intellectual disability people. And it blossomed into Special Olympics, which hosted their first event in 1968 in Chicago.
Wow.
So all this time ago, Special Olympics was going on, which is crazy because they were still in mental institutions at this time. Yeah. So let's go from there, talk about my experience, talk about your experience. We talked about the background. Now let's go into the World Games that happened this year.
Yes, I'm so excited.
So it happened in Berlin, like I said.
Woohoo!
And all of this information's from an article in The Atlantic, so we'll tag it down. There's a lot of good pictures in there if you guys want to see. So check the show notes. Mm-hmm. So there was around 7,000 athletes in this World Games.
Wow.
170 countries were represented.
That's amazing.
So like that's crazy to me because like I'm just like, yeah, this is just very big in America. But the fact that all these different countries,
it's very international.
170.
Very much.
170. It's insane. 170 countries have gathered to compete in 24 different sports in the World Games. These athletes, individuals with intellectual disabilities, are vying for medals in events including judo, powerlifting, badminton, and bocce. And I forgot to say, but my dad also coaches powerlifting, which is kind of crazy. Like, I can't even do powerlifting. And I've gone to some of the events. There's some of these like people, they're benching like 200-300 pounds and they're squatting like 500 pounds. There has been someone that squatted over 400, close to 500 pounds. Like, I can't even do that. And you want to sit here and tell me that
they're any less than?
Like,
you probably can't do that. Period.
Squat 400 right now. So it's crazy. So I just don't understand it. So where was I? The Special Olympics organization coordinates these games, inviting competitors from dozens of national programs, and they participate and are celebrated for their accomplishments. And then the motto for the Special Olympics, Germany, is nothing about us without us having a say.
Oh,
it's kind of good.
That's so good. That should be an entire
Mm-hmm.
Like, that should be the motto or slogan of, like,
Yeah.
that
So
community.
they all have different ones. Like for Florida, they have a motto that we say at the opening ceremonies. The athletes say it, and it's like on every shirt and everything.
Yeah, I've seen it on your dad's shirt.
It's let us win, but if we cannot win, may us be brave in the attempt.
Yeah.
So that's just
awesome.
That's just really cool, and just the main thing that volunteers and partners want to like pound into their brain is like, have a good time. Try your hardest. That's all that matters. Just have a good time.
Yeah.
If you lose, it doesn't matter. Like, what? You're just here to have fun.
Yeah.
And you're just here to be with friends.
I feel like it's also a way for them to get out of the house.
Yeah. And that's the saddest part, because I have seen plenty of athletes where they'll graduate, like they graduate at age 23, like college or whatever, college age. They'll graduate and then they'll just sit at home for the rest of their life. And it's so sad. It's so sad because their parents either don't have the means to, or they just choose not to put them in these organizations and these different.
So it's almost like up to you guys.
Yeah.
To make sure that you can reach them.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, we want to bring your child, your adult child, or child, whatever the age, to this, to make sure that they're getting what they need.
And Special Olympics so great for that. Because, yes, fundamentally is a big reason, because, like, my dad's teaching summer school, too. So, like, it's the summer right now. He teaches summer school so these kids don't regress in their skills. So, like, they've worked so hard throughout the whole year to build up their skills to be able to potentially live on their own. And then, like, the summer comes around and they just sit at home and just do nothing, and they just regress just like that. Like, you see the same thing through, like, public schools.
Regular school, right?
Regular schools do that, too. Like, I remember coming back from summer break and I don't even know what 3 + 3 is. So
right. It happens.
It just happens.
It's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe it's even more with them because it has to be that constant practice.
And like you and me, like we don't have to learn how to like warm up some food or do the dishes.
Yeah.
Like they need that. So like when they just sit at home and everything's given to them and they're just sitting there on the couch just watching TV, they will forget stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it is hard. So Special Olympics is a great way to help with social skills, with
being active,
problem solving skills, being active, like everything. So that was their motto. And then this year's event began with an opening ceremony in Berlin's Olympia Stadium. So like stadiums that they've had for the actual Olympics and Special Olympics.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's so cool.
Last year they did it in Orlando. So like right down the street from us, they did it in Orlando, in the Orlando City Soccer Stadium, Exploria Soccer Stadium.
That's really cool.
So like it's so cool, and like I looked up tickets. It was like $50 to go to. So these things
legit.
are selling.
Yes.
They're selling.
That's awesome.
And they're selling. So
pause. Okay, we're at 33 minutes. We're good. We're
almost
doing
done.
Good. We're doing good.
So on June 17th is when they started with the opening ceremonies, and then they ran through June 25th. And so that was the World Games. Now, I don't follow any of like the great athletes or anything, so I'm sorry to all the great participating athletes who like freaking ran like a 4 dash or whatever. So I'm sorry for all the athletes that did great. I don't follow it like that. I'm sure there are people that do that.
Yeah.
I just
let us know if you guys have any info to add to this, that we would love to hear it.
I would love to potentially go to World Games one day.
Yeah.
It is just a lot. It's a lot of work. I'm not even a certified coach yet. I'm an assistant coach, but I need to get certified. And my dad, farthest he's been is like regional games, which is he did it for powerlifting, which was like the states of Georgia, Florida, like Tennessee, and like states over there, Alabama. So like that's the farthest he's been. But so if you want to do like USA games, which is all of America, and then World Games is next. So like it's so much paperwork, and you have to have the time. You have to have the athletes, of course, and you have to have like great like families and parents of the athletes to be able to do all this. So it takes a lot. And it's so great to see him do it, because I haven't been fortunate enough to go to the World Games. But even when I just go to the county games or whatever, it's still so much fun to see it. Even if it's on such a lower scale, it's still so fun to see it, and it's so great.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Okay. I definitely learned some things.
You learned some things. Did you guys learn some things?
I hope you did.
I'm sure you did.
This was very interesting.
In closing, I just wanted to say some things. Like, if you guys are interested in Special Olympics, you guys, if you want to learn more information, or you want to like donate or volunteering, if you want to donate because you can't volunteer, like physically cannot, then just go to SpecialOlympics.com.
Or volunteer because you can't donate?
So
you can't financially donate.
I'm pretty sure you can do it on SpecialOlympics.com. I'm sure you can. But if you want to learn how to volunteer, or if you want to volunteer, go to like Special Olympics and in whatever state you're in. So like ours is like Special Olympics Florida. So you would look up SpecialOlympicsFlorida.com, and then you just go on there and you press like volunteer now. Or if you want to become like a unified partner like I am, like where you're participating in the sports, I'm not sure about that process. I'm sure you can find it on the website as well, or just contact me.
Someone.
Contact me.
Yeah,
I know.
Guys, we definitely are, like, our communication platforms are open.
I could always use more volunteers.
Our email and Instagram will be in the show notes or description if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube.
So hit us up.
Definitely, if you're interested, he's the guy to talk to. I'll help however I can, but I'll probably just guide it to you. But if you guys have any questions or anything you would like to add to the conversation, we're definitely open to hearing what you guys have to say. We definitely love getting some engagement, and
it's fun to see all of
it. It is. It's really awesome. So, that was very interesting, and thank you for sharing. And
my pleasure.
We just hope that this raises awareness, and
because like I know this isn't really pop culture. I mean, kind of is with the World Games, but like I just thought it needed to be shared.
It's something that maybe should be pop culture.
Yeah,
I feel like,
because like why can't there be a trend about like doing Special Olympics or doing one of these different organizations or just helping out? Like why can't that would be such a cool trend.
Yeah.
And like I know there's a movie that came out this year. It's called Champions, and it's about a Special Olympics basketball team. Yeah. It's so funny. If you haven't watched it, go watch it on Peacock. It's a comedy. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And it's with Woody Harrelson, so like an A-lister. So it's so funny. Go watch it out. That I'll count that as your homework of supporting. So go watch that.
You have homework now. You better do it.
It's so fun. So funny to watch.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that, and thank you guys for tuning in. Like we said, if you have any questions or number five, big five. If you want to contact us about anything, the email and Instagram are definitely the best ways to get a hold of us. And if there's any topics you would like us to talk about, or like basically drama,
just send us anything, because sometimes we're just so busy we can't.
Sometimes life is a lot, and
so it's
for
hard
this
to
like
keep
kind
up.
of being a side project, it's like sometimes not worth.
It's like, oh crap, like something happened with Colin Ballinger again. Like what?
Oh well, let's check it out. I guess So,
but that was like 3 days ago. So
right. So if there's anything you want to hear. Or
just let us know.
Yeah, anything, just let us know. We're definitely open to hearing you guys' ideas. You guys are the ones that count, so we want to make sure that you guys are heard. Keep watching, and thank you for watching.
And again, thank you for our producer Aiden Schrock.
Yes, he
provided all this great stuff for us. He is the
bestest.
Bestest of all time.
Thank you, Aiden.
So thank you, Aiden. And thank you guys for listening.
He's the boat.
And thank you, Kaylee, for being a great co-host.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
And I know all these people are here to watch you, not me. So.
Oh, I mean, I'm just kidding. No. We're a dynamic duo. That's why.
All right.
We will see you on our next episode. Thank you for watching.
Bye. Guys.